On the eve of Valentine's Day, the quaint town of Ravensbrook was enveloped in a shroud of mist. The streets were silent, save for the distant toll of the church bell, marking midnight. The moon hung high, casting a pallid glow upon the cobblestone pathways where tales of old whispered warnings of a blood-curdling curse. Amelia Sinclair, an abbot historian, had just received an anonymous letter with a crimson seal. Her heart pounded as she opened the envelope, revealing an aged parchment adorned with cryptic symbols and a chilling message. Love is eternal, but so is death. Find the truth beneath the old chapel before it finds you. Gripped by a mix of curiosity and dread, Amelia set out towards the ancient chapel on the outskirts of town. The wind howled through the bare branches, creating an eerie symphony that seemed to beckon her closer. She could feel the weight of unseen eyes upon her, watching, waiting. As she descended the creaking steps into the chapel's basement, the air grew colder, and the smell of damp earth filled her nostrils. Her flashlight flickered, casting elongated shadows that danced upon the stone walls. A sense of foreboding gripped her, but she pressed on, determined to uncover the secrets that lay hidden within. In the heart of the basement, Amelia found an ornate coffin, covered in dust and cobwebs. Her breath hitched as she approached, the letters from the parchment etched into her mind. With trembling hands, she lifted the lid, revealing a sight that made her blood run cold. Inside lay the preserved body of a man, his face twisted in an expression of eternal agony. Clutched in his skeletal hand was a locket, inscribed with the name Isabella. The room seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, and Amelia could feel the presence of something ancient and vengeful awakening. A whisper echoed through the chamber. Love and death are forever entwined. The temperature dropped, and Amelia's flashlight died, plunging her into darkness. Panic set in as she fumbled for her matches, but the sound of footsteps approaching stilled her movements. A shadowy figure emerged, cloaked in darkness, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. "You should not have come," it hissed, voice dripping with malice. "The curse is bound by blood, and now you are part of it." Amelia's scream was swallowed by the void as the figure lunged, and she felt an icy grip around her throat. The last thing she saw was the locket slipping from the corpse's hand, its chain unraveling like a serpent. As Amelia's vision faded, she found herself in a dreamlike state, suspended between reality and the supernatural. The darkness enveloped her, whispering secrets of the past, intertwining love and death in an eternal dance. When Amelia awoke, she was no longer in the chapel basement. Instead, she found herself in a grand, decaying ballroom, illuminated by the ghostly glow of chandeliers. The walls were adorned with tattered velvet drapes, and the air was thick with the scent of forgotten memories. Shadows of dancers moved gracefully across the floor, their faces hidden behind ornate masks. Amelia stood at the center of the room, feeling a magnetic pull towards the far end, where a tall, mysterious figure awaited. Dressed in elegant attire, the figure's face was concealed by a mask that mirrored the locket's design. As she approached, the figure extended a gloved hand, inviting her to join the macabre waltz. Reluctantly, Amelia took the hand, feeling an icy chill seep into her bones. The music swelled, and they began to dance, the world around them blurring into a haunting symphony of light and shadow. With each step, Amelia felt the weight of centuries pressing down upon her, and the figure's grip tightened, as if to claim her soul. the masked figure leaned in, whispering in a voice that echoed with sorrow and longing. "The curse was born from a love unfulfilled. Isabella and I were to be wed, but fate tore us apart. Now, we are bound to this eternal dance, seeking a way to break free." Amelia's heart ached with empathy, but she also felt the creeping tendrils of fear. She knew that breaking the curse would require a sacrifice, and she wasn't sure if she was willing to pay the price. The figure's eyes, glowing with a spectral light, bore into hers, silently pleading for release. As the dance continued, Amelia's mind raced. She recalled the symbols on the parchment and the locket's inscription. There had to be a way to end the curse without dooming herself to the same fate. With newfound determination, she broke away from the figure's grasp and fled towards the edge of the ballroom, where a forgotten door beckoned. Bursting through the door, Amelia found herself in a dimly lit corridor, lined with portraits of mournful faces. The air was thick with the sense of lost love and shattered dreams. She knew she had to find the source of the curse and confront it head-on. At the end of the corridor, she discovered a hidden chamber where an ancient altar stood. Upon the altar lay the same locket she had seen in the coffin, now glowing with a sinister light. Trembling, Amelia reached out, her fingers brushing the cold metal. Suddenly, the room filled with a blinding light, and the masked figure appeared once more, eyes blazing with desperation. "You must choose, Amelia," it intoned. "Break the locket and free us, or leave and save yourself, but the curse will remain." Amelia's mind reeled with the weight of the decision. She knew that breaking the locket could free the tormented spirits, but at what cost? Summoning all her courage, she made her choice. With her heart pounding, Amelia held the locket in her trembling hands, the weight of her decision pressing down on her. She could feel the presence of the cursed spirits all around her, their anguish and longing seeping into her very soul. Summoning all her courage, Amelia closed her eyes and whispered a silent prayer. She grasped the locket tightly and, with a sudden burst of strength, snapped it open. A blinding light erupted from within, and the air was filled with the echoes of long-forgotten cries. The masked figure let out a guttural scream, its form flickering and wavering like a shadow caught in a storm. "No! You cannot break the curse!" it wailed, its voice a cacophony of rage and despair. Amelia's resolve did not waver. She knew that this was the only way to bring peace to the tormented souls. As the light grew brighter, she felt a surge of energy course through her, lifting her off the ground. The room around her dissolved into a whirlwind of light and darkness, and she felt herself being pulled into the very heart of the curse. In that moment, Amelia found herself standing in a vast, desolate landscape where time seemed to stand still. The ground was littered with the remnants of forgotten love, and the sky was a swirling mass of crimson clouds. Before her stood Isabella, the woman from the locket, her ethereal beauty marred by an expression of eternal sorrow. "Thank you, Amelia," Isabella whispered, her voice a haunting melody. "You have freed us from our suffering. But the curse cannot be broken without a price. You must take my place and bear the burden of our love and death." Amelia's heart sank as she realized the gravity of her choice. She had freed the spirits, but in doing so, had condemned herself to an eternity of torment. Yet, she felt a strange sense of peace, knowing that she had done what was right. With a heavy heart, Amelia nodded, accepting her fate. As she did, The landscape around her began to shift and change. The crimson clouds dissipated, and the ground beneath her feet transformed into a lush, vibrant meadow. The spirits of the cursed lovers began to fade, their sorrow replaced by a serene tranquility. Isabella approached Amelia, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Your sacrifice will not be in vain," she said softly. "You have given us the chance to move on, and for that, we are eternally grateful." As the last of the spirits faded into the ether, Amelia felt herself being pulled back into the darkness. The world around her dissolved once more, and she found herself back in the chapel basement, the locket still clutched in her hand. But something was different. The air was no longer thick with malevolence, and the oppressive weight of the curse had lifted. Amelia knew that she had succeeded in freeing the spirits, but at the cost of her own freedom. As she made her way back to the surface, she felt a sense of closure and fulfillment. The town of Ravensbrook would no longer be haunted by the curse of the bloody Valentine, and the spirits of Isabella and her lover could finally rest in peace.